We are now moving on to lesson 82. We are going to be graphing equations using intercepts. And our first objective is to define x and y intercepts. Okay? An x-intercept is where the graph crosses the horizontal axis. So that's this line right here. So we need to make sure that we know this is the x-axis. And this one is the y-axis. So x-intercept is where the graph crosses the horizontal axis. And a y-intercept is where the graph crosses the vertical axis. So we're going to use a little color here. Let's say that we have a graph that looks like this. Okay, and then we're going to just go ahead and connect this with a line here. Okay, well, our x-intercept is where the graph crosses the x-axis, so that's right here in blue. Okay, in this case, we'll write that as an ordered pair. That is the point 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0. Okay, so our x-intercept is x equals 4 on this, because here's my x-coordinate and my y-coordinate, and the x part equals 4. So my x-intercept, where the graph crosses the x-axis, is at x equals 4, or 4, 0. That's the same point. Okay, the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. Well, that's right here. So that is the point. We don't move this way. Okay, so it's 0, and then 1, 2, 3, because we go up 3. So our x is 0, and our y is positive 3, because we went up 3. So that's y equals 3, because that's where our point is. Now remember, we learned another letter for y-intercepts, and that was b equals 3. Okay, so we can say or b equals 3 for slope-intercept form. Okay, but again, x-intercept is where it crosses this horizontal line, and y-intercept is where it crosses this line. If we know the x-intercept and a y-intercept, it's very easy for us to sketch what's called a quick graph, where we put the x-intercept on the line, put the y-intercept on a line, and connect them with a dot, or with a line. Okay, now notice here that my x-intercept has a y-coordinate of 0. Okay, so my x-intercept is always when y equals 0. And my y-intercept is always when x equals 0. And that's going to be a key piece of knowledge for us to have going forward in this lesson. So let's go ahead and explore this a little more. Okay, example 1 says to find the x and y-intercepts of this equation and then graph. And we've got our steps over here that we're going to follow through. Okay, so we'll go step by step. Step 1 says to find the x-intercept. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to do is find the x-intercept. Whoops, and I'm going to erase that. I'm going to go back to my blue color for the x-intercept here. So to find the x-intercept, we're going to plug 0 in for y and solve the equation for x. So basically, I'm going to take my equation, 3x plus 4y equals 24. So this is 3 times x plus 4 times y equals 24. And I'm going to plug 0 in for y. Okay, because remember, when it crosses the x-axis, the y-coordinate has to be 0. So I'm going to have 3x plus, instead of 4 times y, it's 4 times my y value, which is 0. So I got 3x plus 4 times 0, which is 0, equals 24. So basically, adding 0, that's not doing anything. So we could just say that's the same as 3x equals 24. And then we're going to solve for x. And we're going to get x equals 8. So that's my x-intercept. And notice this says that when I solve for my x-intercept, my answer should be in x equals form. So there's my x-intercept. Okay. Now I need to find my y-intercept. We're going to find the y-intercept just like the x-intercept, except for one little thing. Okay, and it's actually a big thing, but little tiny piece of algebra here. Okay, it says find the y-intercept by plugging in 0 for x and solving the equation for y. Again, we're going to plug in 0 for x to find the y-intercept, because when we think about how it crosses that y line, x has to equal 0. Okay, so instead of 3 times x, I'm going to put in 3 times 0 plus 4y equals 24. Well, 3 times 0, that's 0. And adding 0 to anything is just itself, so this is the same as 4y equals 24. And then if I divide by 4, I'm going to get y equals 6. Okay, so again, for the x-intercept, I plug in 0 for y, so I can get an x equals answer. And to find the y-intercept, I plug in 0 for x, so that I can get a y equals answer. So I got x equals 8 and y equals 6. In step 3, I'm going to do on the next slide. It says to plot the two intercepts on the graph and connect with the line. So let's go to the next slide for that. Okay, so again, my intercepts were x equals 8 and y equals 6. So all I'm going to do for my x-intercept is I'm going to go to 8 on the x-axis, and it's positive 8. So I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm going to put a dot there on the line. Okay, then for my y-intercept is positive 6. So I'm going to count on this line positive 6, which means I go up 6. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and put a dot there. Okay, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to connect those with a straight edge. Okay, now again, mine won't be a straight edge just because I don't have one on this, but you guys need to make sure that yours is a straight edge. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of freehand this line here. And sorry it's bendy, but you get the idea. And that's called sketching a quick graph with the intercepts. So we found the x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis, and plotted both of those and then connect them with the line. Okay, now again, that good thing about this is it's a lot easier than doing the table of values. You don't need to get it into slope-intercept, the y equals mx plus b form. Okay, so it's pretty quick and easy. The only bad thing is there's only 2 dots on your line, so it's a little less accurate, especially if you don't use a straight edge. Okay, and let's go on to another example with this. Okay, example 2 says Martin is thinking of 2 numbers, and he gives these hints. The sum of the numbers is 3, and if you double the first number and add the second number, the sum is 8. So it says to graph this system of equations to find the 2 numbers. Okay, well, here's the first equation saying the first number plus the second number equals 3. Okay, and then the second one says that doubling the first number and then adding the second number equals 8. So basically I've got 2 lines here. I've got this x plus y equals 3 and this 2x plus y equals 8. So instead of doing the whole table of values thing, or y equals mx plus b form, we can use the x and y intercept method to make this quick. Okay, so the x-intercept is when I plug in 0 for y. So I'm going to say that x plus 0 equals 3. Well, that's the same as x equals 3 for the x-intercept. Then for the y-intercept, that's when I plug in 0 for x. So it's 0 plus y equals 3. So our y-intercept is y equals 3. So I can plot both of these points and sketch a quick graph, and I'll do that on the next slide to graph that line. We're going to do the same thing to graph this line. So the x-intercept is when I plug in 0 for y. So it's 2x plus my y is 0 equals 8. And that's the same as 2x equals 8, which if I divide by 2, that's x equals 4 for that x-intercept. And then the y-intercept, that's where I plug in 0 for x. So I'm going to say 2 times 0 plus y equals 8. 2 times 0 is the same as 0. And 0 plus y is the same as y equals 8. Okay, so now I've got two different sets of x and y intercepts. So I can plot those and connect two lines on the next slide, and that's what I'll do. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that on the next slide here. Alright, so I've gone ahead and written our x-intercepts and our y-intercepts for this line and for this line, and I made them different colors. I made one blue so I can make a blue line and then make a red line just to kind of see the difference a little better. So let's go ahead and plot the x-intercept for the blue line. That's at 3. And then plot the y-intercept also at 3. And again, we need to connect these. So Mr. Edge is going to go ahead and freehand it here. Again, you always use a straight edge, but I don't have one on my iPad. Now we'll go ahead and graph the blue line. It says x equals 4 and y equals 8. So we have to go all the way up to 8. Then we're going to go ahead and connect that with the line. Okay. So now my solution, the two numbers he's thinking of, are where these two lines cross each other. Okay. So since it was a little difficult for me to draw this line, okay, we would say that our solution again is the point where they cross each other. So we'll just say that that point is right here. Okay. So then that would be my x is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then my y is -1. And that would be the two numbers that we were thinking of, if that worked out. Okay, but again, Mr. Edge's lines are a little off just because of the graphing situation. But again, the point where they cross, that's the solution to our two equations. Okay, that's your lesson on x and y intercepts. Good luck on the homework.